is an investigation. It's what we do. As you can see, our first thing is we're not here to cause harm. We're just here to find out what is happening. That is typical of our investigations. We go in, we ask questions. Who are you? How old are you? Are you male? Are you female? Can you tell us your name? Can you tell us why you're here? And that's basically what we do, and it can take hours. You can get something, you can get nothing. You get pretty little lights. Now, if you get them to go off more than once, that's what it really, and you know there's no else around that can cause it. Like out there in the middle of the woods, there's no electric out there. So you get lights, you're like, yeah. So at this point, I'd like to open up for any questions or anything that we can answer for you. Yeah.
First, just want to mention that I've had quite a few experiences, so I'm definitely a believer. But what I am wondering, it's kind of accepted that matter never disappears, it just changes into something else. So the physical aspects of spiritual beings is certainly easy to accept and understand. Where it gets more interesting is the interaction. Interaction tends to suggest cognitive ability. So is it mind, body, soul? What exactly makes up a spirit, so to speak? Or at least what would be your opinion on?
I was going to say that's really hard because
that interaction part is where it gets a lot different.
The interaction
it's not just
it's energy.
Right.
It's just it's an energy. Yes, I want to say it's cognitive. In my personal experiences, because of family members passing, I have spirits in my home, and I'm happy with them. My guardian angel, my husband, my in-laws, and I think they're traveling with me to my daughters because the dog's now freaking out. But when my husband passed, I read something by Sylvia Brown that made me understand that we all do exist, even with our loved ones that have passed. They're just on another level. And it really hit home because about a week or two before my husband passed, he told me his mother had come to see him and taken him outside, and it was our neighborhood, but it was all different people. And at that point, I just looked at him and said, just tell her when she comes back, you're not ready yet. But I do feel that we all do exist, maybe not necessarily in a human form, but in a form of some sort of energy, cognitive being, on another level. And when I need them, I can communicate, mostly it's dreams and things like that. My daughter saw my husband and he looked at her and said, I'm just wanting to make sure you guys are okay. I just want you to be okay. So I do believe that you can communicate and that it is intelligent and it's cognitive and it's basically us, just maybe in another format, an energy type format. And that's where you get your readings. We all put off just a minute portion of, our whole body runs on energy. So I don't know if that answers, but I hope.
Yeah, it's one I've never been able to answer. So I didn't expect you to do it.
It's all subjective.
Right.
Unfortunately, the whole area of paranormal is all very subjective to what you want to believe, what you're open to believe. So, yes.
I think you said in the beginning that everyone has some ability to feel or censor like what you do.
From the time you were born until you start being told it doesn't exist and you start believing that, you do. And as an adult, you can bring that back.
So what would you suggest for someone who's interested in doing that?
If you want to develop that ability, if you have someone you love who's passed on that you want to communicate, start with that. Or the other thing is, the more you can read on just opening your mind and reading different things that are of that subject. Definitely, if you can get involved with a group that does it, anything that will open your experiences to, and just basically learning to come to peace and say, I do believe in this, this is a possibility, I want to open myself up, and open yourself to that realm, they will come to you. Yes?
I'm curious why you would research, investigate the background on property, so on and so forth, prior to going out there. I have found, and I've done this for, I won't tell you how many years, because you know I'm really old, but going out and knowing nothing about the property or where you're going, lends a little more authenticity to it when you say, wow, this is what I'm seeing, this is who I saw, this is what they said, and you don't have any background, and then have it do the actual paper trail on it or what have you, whatever
Right.
you can put. That
My
lets you
paper trail
believe.
doesn't happen until after I've done the pre-investigation, which means pre-investigation is where I go into it totally unknowing. Okay, you contact us, you say you want us to come investigate. We decide we are going to, and I go to the pre-investigation meeting.
But-
I go totally unknowing.
Well, right, but it's just a pre-investigation as
Right.
opposed to the full-blown thing. And my last question to kind of go with that would be, why do you not perhaps have more psychics with you that have more of the potential to bring out and bring forward any of the spirits and so forth that may be there, so that you then can get them with our
Right.
little electronic?
Yeah, doing. Okay, to finish up the research part, I'm like you, I don't want to know the whole story, but for the non-believers, they have to have some stuff to say, okay, yeah, there was a death associated, but it may or may not be anything, it's still something they can discount. I try to stay as open-minded, even though there may be that, but it's just knowing the history of a property. It is important to what could or could not be going on there.
Yeah, but I still, just wonder
Yeah.
if it's not better to know that at the very end, because it lets out authenticity. If you know absolutely nothing, and you come out with this information,
Right.
and then say, now we will go get documentation, whatever we can find on this place to support what.
It works both ways, because if you know something going in that there could be something, it lends more to warranting an investigation. And like you said, I do prefer a clean slate going in because I don't want preconceived ideas. And so we don't necessarily tell the entire group everything about what's going on in the history. So we do have several clean slates we take in with us. There's just one or two that may know all the details. So I do try to keep it to both levels. And then afterwards, when we're doing the results and stuff, then we'll talk about all of the details that we found out. On the other part, let me think. The reason why we don't always have psychics with us, we do have two, but they're from Cincinnati. So they're very selective in what they want to be able to participate in. And they want to know some of the history going in because it affects them very emotionally and how they take things, whether it's something they're going to be able to, quote, deal with. We did try another local psychic that I don't know if that's going to work out for us. It's hard to find the right people. Personalities, just even in this group, has been, when you get different people with different abilities and different things, they don't always mesh well. But I do like to, from time to time, if we can, take a psychic with us. Yes, I would like that, because that's a whole nother take on it. So yeah, I would love it.
Do you ever have sound? Have you gotten sound instead of just little lights flashing or someone answering your questions?
Yes, and some of it is subjective as to what we're really hearing. The condominium, I'd asked a question, what is your name? And in one of the sound clips, it says, I'm Wolfgang. Okay, but it's subjective. Is that just some kind of reverberation or something that, that, am I suggesting that I'm hearing it's saying it's Wolfgang? Definitive sounds at Post Town Elementary. We were in the second floor hallway. There are some living quarters for the owner of the building. And down in that area, we heard pipes and all kinds of things crashing. Okay, and so we're outside talking later and talking to the owner. He's like, I wasn't home. I'm like, what? We do have a sound clip where we have all the sounds of everything crashing. We have Mike, you thought Ty had gotten one down with the little girl?
I think.
We think where things are set. So yeah, we do get sound clips. And we post all of our EPs and everything up on our website.
Are you doing this for fun or are you charging?
We are a free group. We do not charge for what we do. This is just something we like to do. We have full-time jobs. So it's just something we really like. It's an interest that we have. I don't want to say it's a hobby because it's really not. It's just something we like to do. So we're not out here to hoax anybody, to hose anybody. The groups that there are, I will tell you, there are groups that do charge. They say, well, because we have to pay for equipment, we have to do this, we have to do that. No, they shouldn't be charging you. Anybody else? Yeah.
What if you have a ghost that is attached to you?
Attached to you? You can have a ghost that's attached to you. You can have a ghost that is attached to something that you own. Antiques. One of the questions we ask, do you have antiques? Do you have something you bought at a garage sale that's antique? Entities and energy do attach.
How do you go about?
Disattaching?
Yes.
We know somebody that can do that.
Yes, we do
We have
have.
a lady.
I need to talk to you.
We have found a person that, if we can't do something, we do try to help find someone who can take care of that
Is
for
it
us.
wise to, like, if they're in your house and they don't really bother you, is it wise to talk to them?
If they're not bothering you, just let it be. If it's something that is making you uncomfortable, state to them, I'm okay that you're here, I'm just not comfortable with how you're interacting with me. Please stop it.
I have two different things going. Like there's a little girl, albeit laying across my bed watching TV, and she'll peep around the corner at me, and I'll say, I see you, and you can hear her running back up the hallway.
Yeah.
And we just look at each other, and
It's your choice if you want to interact. It's your choice. You do have that control. You can tell them, stop it. I
Yeah,
don't want
I
this
do.
anymore.
yeah, my
And it
husband
should-
just recently had a heart attack, and nothing has happened in over a year.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to go to sleep, and that was the last thing I was thinking of, and it started tapping my shoulder.
You open your head.
He taps on my shoulder, whispers in my ear, messes with my feet.
Say, enough.
And I just sit up and I yell, shut up, leave me alone, I need sleep. And then my husband comes home from the hospital, it happened and kept doing it overnight. Well, he had another heart attack because I sit up and I'm yelling, go away.
We can talk to you more after and get you the name and everything that's still about it, but just talking to them is fine. Telling them that I'm okay with it, but let me alone. You had a question?
This poltergeist is more of a negative energy as opposed to a spirit, correct?
It is a negative energy that is projected by a living being. Typically, it is someone who's had a very traumatic experience or is dealing with some kind of trauma sometimes. Mostly, it's a pubescent teenager, divorcing parents, lost a parent. They're projecting the energy, and the more they're dealing with it, and the more they get to that stage of transition, it gets very much more negative and aggressive.
Now, to that end, how do you differentiate between a possible poltergeist and an actual negative spirit?
If you go there and that person's not there and nothing's going on, but when they're there, it's going on.
So it's literally associated with being
that.
around them.
Them
closest.
doing it.
It's a short-wave psychokinetic field.
It can be an adult, but it's typically a
Yeah, when mine's most active is when I'm going through a stressful situation.
Anybody else? Well, I thank you all for coming out today. I hope we've given you some good information. I hope that we've done okay. This is, like I said, our second official presentation, but we've, we're new. 2007 we started, and we're looking forward to a lot more investigations. So.
Thank you.
I'm glad you all came out today. Appreciate the information. And besides being ghost hunters, you guys are good filmmakers too. So thank you very much. And if you just want to, on your way out, just take your time and just set your evaluations on the table over here if you would.